Hello, welcome to the Kitchen Spy, and I'm sorry if the Christmas theme has taken you all by surprise. I make no apologies for going early on this one. Anyway, I hope you are safe and well, and as you will see from the title of the video, this is spice braised red cabbage, and it is a get ahead for Christmas recipe, hence the kind of festive feel to the video. I absolutely love Christmas, so I'm hoping over the next few weeks to be sharing some of my favourite recipes with you, and these kind of recipes like this one, which you can make like a month ahead and freeze, and then it's just ready to be all delicious for your lunch on the day. Well, what's not to love? Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. It's from the Delia Smith cookbook, and we'll have a little extra look at that in a minute. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So the Delia Smith Christmas cookbook is just one of my absolute all-time favourite cookbooks. It's just absolutely packed to the brim with just loads of fabulous things, loads of recipes, so nibbles, canapes, actual the meal itself, and a timetable if you're not confident, Christmas cakes, and of course side dishes, which is the section that this cabbage comes from. This is one of my favourite recipes from this book. It is super simple and really impressive, and you can see we've made it a number of times because it's got chocolate all over the pages. And again, I don't make any apologies for that either. My cookbooks are absolutely working books. Anyway, so the recipe I'm going to be doing today is braised cabbage, and it is spiced, so I've called it spiced because not everybody would want that, but it's from this book, it's this recipe, it's Delia Smith. What's not to love? She's absolutely amazing. So in terms of the actual vegetables that you need, so I've got one red cabbage here, and this is just under 2 kilos. Then we've got 4 onions and also 4 apples and a garlic clove, and I'll prepare all those and then I'll show you those with the rest of the ingredients. So yeah, here is everything, and it makes a really good amount of cabbage as well, so as you'll see later for my freezing. So I've got 1/4 of a whole nutmeg, which I have grated here on this plate that I've got. I've got 3 tablespoons of, it's supposed to be wine vinegar, but I hadn't got any, so I'm using cider vinegar, and that will be fine. I've got 15 grams of butter chopped into small pieces, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, this is light muscovado. I've got 1 garlic clove chopped finely, and I've got 1/4 teaspoon each of cloves and also cinnamon. Now the cloves, I hadn't got any, so I ground them myself in my spice grinder, which is really a coffee grinder. Here's the onions all chopped up finely, and the cabbage, which is just shredded with the harder middle bits taken out, and there's the apples chopped up again quite finely. So those are the ingredients, and salt and pepper of course, and from then it really is just a case of kind of putting it all together. It's really simple. So you need to heat your oven to gas mark 2, which is 300F 150C. And then the first thing we need to do is to mix all of the spices and the sugar together. Now you can sprinkle them separately if you like, but I actually find it's better just to mix them all together because this dish is a layered dish. So we put a layer of cabbage, a layer of onions, a layer of apples, a layer of spices, and for me it's just easier if we mix all of the spices and the sugar together. Yeah, that is the only bad thing about this plate, is the fact that getting the nutmeg off it is quite something. So when it came, it had a little brush with it, but I've mislaid whatever the brush, so I'm just using a pastry brush here just to get all of the nutmeg off the plate. But if you just used a normal grater, you won't have this irritating little step. So once you've got everything all together, you just mix it up, and please make sure that you do mix it because you don't want the spices to just clump in various places. You want it to be evenly spread. So take some time and mix all of the spices and the sugar together. And then once you've done that, you'll end up with this mixture, as you can see I've got here, and it's just all nicely mixed together, and we can use that quite easily to sprinkle in between the layers of cabbage. Then you just need to get your pot, and this is an oven-proof casserole dish. So this is a non-stick one, but it doesn't have to be, because actually, even though we don't use much liquid, it actually does get quite liquidy through the cooking process. So all we need to do now is just layer up the ingredients. So we start with a layer of the cabbage, and then just make sure that each of the layers of cabbage is really well seasoned with salt and pepper as well. And this, well, cooking this has just made me feel really Christmassy because it smells really gorgeous. Anyway, so we've got the cabbage, then we put a sprinkling of the onions on top. I mean, you don't have to be too precious about this because obviously it's all going to get mixed in eventually. And then again, some of the apples, just sprinkle those on top of the onions and just carry on doing that and building up the layers, and then a sprinkling of the sugar and the spices and the garlic. And this already is smelling, just like I said, really, really lovely. So just carry on doing that at super speed as I am here, and just build it up all the way to the top of your casserole dish, or until obviously you've used all of the ingredients. And this is okay, so it takes a little bit of time to do this, but it is worth it. This recipe is utterly delicious and it freezes so well, and the fact that you can get this delicious thing on Christmas morning with no effort at all is just brilliant. Anyway, once you've reached the final layer and you've sprinkled your final little bit of sugar and spices, and then we just need to go in with the rest of the ingredients. So that, of course, is the vinegar. So again, the recipe actually calls for wine vinegar. It doesn't specify which. I've used all sorts of vinegar, but on this occasion I am using cider vinegar because I've got bottles of that, well, a bottle of that left over from when I did the chutney, which will be a recipe coming up soon. So add the vinegar, and it really, you think, wow, this is not enough liquid, but trust me, it is. So just the 3 tablespoons of the cider vinegar or whatever vinegar, and then just dot the small bits of butter around on the top of the casserole dish. Or pot, whichever you're using. And you just need to make sure that this is actually really well sealed before it goes in the oven, because it's going to be cooked for a long time on a low heat, like I said, gas mark 2 and the equivalents, for between 2 and 2.5 hours. I always leave it the 2.5 hours. I think it can take it. So just make sure that your casserole dish is sealed really well, and I'm just using a piece of foil to allow me to do that. Pop it in the oven, and 2.5 hours later, this is what we end up with. I did actually stir it halfway through just to make sure that everything was cooking down. So that is a good tip, actually, just to take it out and stir it halfway through. So you can see that it's gone down a bit in terms of volume, but the smell, oh my goodness, the smell is just amazing. And you can see that it's all properly cooked. And that there's loads of it, absolutely loads of it. Well, you'll see in a minute how much I actually got out of just that one cabbage. And it freezes, I promise you, freezes really, really well. So yeah, that's it basically. I mean, super simple, as you can see, but it gives you something that's really delicious, very Christmassy. I think this is really festive. I mean, on any meal it is great, but particularly on your Christmas lunch it is really super. So there you are, just leave that to cool, and then we can pot it up as we want to do. So yeah, I've got 3 pots here. I've got one for Christmas Day, this bigger one, then I've got a smaller one which I will use for another Sunday lunch or something, or on a side with anything, any kind of meat this goes well with. And then in this bowl here, this is what we're having with our lunch today, which is a roast chicken dinner, and you'll be able to see that on Meals of the Week. So there you go, loads of gorgeous spiced red cabbage. Well, I hope the fact that this had a Christmas themed thumbnail didn't scare you too much. It's not very many weeks now. I'm really looking forward to it. It's been such a weird year this year that we're going to make full benefit of Christmas. And normally we normally have a real tree, and we normally put it up maybe just the week before Christmas. But this year, we're not sure about getting a real one, about whether we want to be trogging from place to place looking for one. So we've ordered a really nice artificial one, and I think we're even going to put it up really early, like the beginning of December, and just make the most of it, because this year really has been awful, hasn't it? Anyway, if you do give this cabbage a go, please let me know. I can't believe I've done one whole video about cabbage, but it is really worth doing, and such a boon, honestly. And even if you don't want it for Christmas, it's one of those recipes that is just super to have in your freezer and just use whenever you want to as a side dish. Anyway, if you are a subscriber, thanks so much already for subscribing to the channel and supporting me. And if you're not already a subscriber and you feel like you might want to join us for recipes, meals of the week and food hauls, then please click the subscribe button. That will be popping up soon. Either way, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to do any of those things, it doesn't matter. It's just great to have you watch the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. So you take care of yourself and those you love. See you soon. Bye bye.